Te reo ererangi o te mānia. This episode was produced in Otatahi by Plains Media, with support from New Zealand On Air.
Kia ora and welcome. Haere mai. This is Emergence News. My name is Nigel and welcome to the program as we continue to explore the last phase of the evolutionary process here on Earth, which is covered by 5 great expansions of consciousness called the 5 planetary initiations. Now, all the masters of wisdom have taken these 5 initiations. Maitreya is the Hierophant at the first 2 initiations. So in this sense, Maitreya guards the gates of initiation. In this sense, he also guards the gates to God. As the Christian Bible puts it, no man cometh unto the Father except through me. Now, unfortunately, this has been interpreted by Christian groups to mean that a person can only know God by becoming a Christian and accepting Christian dogma and doctrines. Well, welcome to the studio, John and Peter. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
G'day,
Morning.
Nigel.
Yeah, Peter, some of the interpretations in the Bible that comes with a caveat. You've got to become a Christian.
That's right, yes. Well, it's completely ridiculous, obviously. And Maitreya is here for absolutely everyone on the planet, including those with no religion at all. So it bypasses that need to be a Christian.
I think the challenge for modern practicing Christians today on this planet is the relationship between what you believe and the teachings of Jesus. And I suspect that a number of Christian organizations have done away with the teachings of the humble and enlightened individual Jesus and are creating more egotistical paths, because that is the challenge.
Yes. And it's been the way of the Piscean era is separation, isn't it?
Separation, and that ego, this is my way, I'll interpret it and I'll create a church. And I think the fracturing of Christianity globally, and depending on who you read, there's anything from 1,200 to 2,000 different interpretations of Christianity as a religion. It's just splintered appallingly. So that, Krem has said one of Jesus, the Master Jesus, one of his tasks when he emerges alongside Maitreya will be to reorganize. Oh, that's a word dripping with all sorts of intent, isn't it? He will reorganize the Christian churches. But when I look at how Christianity is practiced in some places globally, it's far removed from the teachings of Jesus.
John, did you have a religious upbringing?
Yes, my father was a deeply religious man, practicing Christian. Mother was not, but my father was. And so I was sent along to Bible class, and at one point I decided I didn't need it. So I would go off to Sunday school and bunk and go wandering around the wild streets of Papanui, Christchurch on a Sunday morning, not really interested at all in the Christian teachings. And so when it came to my what's the word that they have for young Christian children that enter the church?
Youth groups.
I was in a youth group and I got sick of playing indoor bowls and all that other stuff. So I used to go wandering around. But when it came time...
You weren't interested in the girls?
No, I was way too young. When it came time for me to be entered into the Christian church, my mother and father came along, and the priest kind of went, well, he hasn't done the...
Who the hell is he?
Yeah, who's this kid? Knobbly knees and cheeky little grin. Who is he? And Mum looked at me and just tutted me almost to death.
She shook her head.
She shook her head. What is the Christian when you enter into the ashram kind of... Anyway, so I didn't. I kind of felt a need not to, really.
Yeah. I had a similar experience. I was brought up in a Presbyterian upbringing and went along to Sunday school, and I remember going home to my mother and saying, I don't want to go anymore. And I wasn't enjoying what our teacher was imparting to us kids. And the heaven and hell, that's what put me off.
Yeah.
I had a reaction to that.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because as a family we left the church, which was quite dramatic because both my parents had deeply religious upbringings. But my father discovered Theosophy, the Theosophical Society, and that changed our lives. All of a sudden, Dad was talking to me about things like meditation and reincarnation. That changed my life. When he told me that, overnight, in that instant, Peter, I thought, there is some justice in the system. Life didn't feel just to me until that moment. I saw injustice all around me.
Yes, it meant that you'd had that experience at some point in a previous life.
Must have.
And I think that's the message that's off-putting for so many young people that they're getting from modern churches is you get one life, you get one crack at it,
and that's
and you better do what we tell you.
Yeah.
And, people were going, what?
Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense, no.
What about you, Peter? Did you have a religious upbringing?
Well, yes. I mean, Mum was Roman Catholic, but she didn't care what church she went to. So we ended up going to the Anglican church, and my father was a Baptist, but he never preached. He never went to a church. In fact, he used to live right on the grounds of the Baptist church in Oxford Terrace, a house right next door, virtually, and.
Your power bills would have been low then if you're living next door to a church, all the energy coming off it.
Yeah. So
theory.
I was even one of the assistants and helped serve the communion service, So I was right in there, but faded fairly quickly when I got to about 17 or 18.
Now, you went overseas and you...
Oh, well, yes, I was out of my apprenticeship before. I was 21 when I went to New Guinea.
Yeah, so that's when you started becoming an active seeker?
Yes, I went into it was basically theosophical, but it was called the Rosicrucians.
Rosicrucians.
But it's a similar philosophy. It's part of the same.
Oh, okay.
Do either of you gentlemen, do you have an opinion or a perspective on the word hierophant?
Hierophant? No, the only way that it's used that I'm aware of is as Maitreya is the hierophant at the first and second initiations.
Yeah, because it's an old Greek word meaning sacred, and so all the old priests in ancient Greece, that's what they were referred to. So I thought it was interesting that Maitreya is referred to by Krem as a hierophant at the first and second initiations.
Which is the gateway to the third initiation, which is when you're ensouled, which is almost the start of the first initiation for hierarchy. Yeah. If you're ensouled at that third degree, that's when hierarchy can look at you and go, we can work with this one. We can trust this one, I guess. Until you're a third degree initiate, you're not fully ensouled, and goodness knows what you'll get up to when Sunday school's meant to be running. You could be wandering the wild streets of Papua Nui.
Yeah, so once you pass the third initiation, as far as hierarchy are concerned, you're saying that's when you become useful.
Yeah.
Yes, you're dedicated to the path.
Yeah.
Okay, on the subject of these initiations, John, what are you looking at today?
I'm going to return to initiation kind of generally. I've dived into Maitreya's Mission Volume 1, and if you are interested in this topic, that book, Krem, is really dives into the initiation process, and I've just picked out some topics that I'm going to return to.
It sounds juicy. And Peter, you, on the last program, you were reading to us a very interesting article called At the Door of Initiation.
That's right.
And it wasn't until halfway through the week when I had a chat to you on the phone, I discovered you'd only read half of it.
Yes, that's right.
So we're going to hear the second half.
We'll just have to quickly whiz through that aspect of it. And even look at the steps beyond the 5 initiations. In fact, the paths beyond that.
We'll have a little tickle, shall we?
Yeah.
That higher stuff.
Okay, John, take it away, sir.
Okay, well, look, I was, as is my wont, I was diving in and out of Cream's books, and I've ended up in Maitreya's Mission Volume 1, and I'm flicking around looking at initiation. And I've ended up on page 157, and Benjamin Cream has asked a question, and I love the question and answer format of a lot of his books. He is asked, and I'm going to truncate this question a wee bit, putting aside karma, this is the question, putting aside karma, is there something innately individual about each of us? Benjamin Cream comes back with, humanity is ensouled by a great diva or angel, and each human soul is part of that oversoul. Nevertheless, each one of us is uniquely individual and contributes that individuality to the whole. Now, I did not know that. I knew that humanity had an oversoul and that we were individualized parts of that oversoul, right?
But you didn't realize it was a diva.
I did not realize it was an angel or diva, depending on your background, what word you want to use. Now, that is intriguing because that must be a hugely evolved being.
Yeah.
Peter, I can see that you're over there ticking away.
He is. Look.
That I find that quite staggering because when we talk about the animal kingdoms, each animal kingdom has an oversoul. So dogs, cats, rabbits don't have individualized souls. That is the
No, they're happiest when they're alive as a group.
They have oversouls, right? Yeah. So one soul controls the dog kingdom. One soul controls the cat
That's
kingdom.
right. It's a divic. It's like you see all the birds flying together and that sort of thing.
Isn't that amazing?
Controlled by a diva.
And if you watch a group of dogs playing together, they all move as well. They move as one at times. It's quite beautiful. However, so I got that. Okay, they have an oversoul. And what makes us really special, is that we are individualized aspects of that oversoul. But I did not know the oversoul was a diva or angel. So that must be a great being that sits beside Maitreya at times. It must be a being of equivalent rank, I guess.
Because he's the teacher of
men and angels alike.
Yes.
So that I just found that a little bit interesting. But anyway, Benjamin Cream kind of puts his breakdown of initiation in this writing, and he touches on the topic in a number of other different places, but he places it kind of in a Christian mindset. So here, Benjamin Cream, page 176. The first initiation is called the birth initiation. It is the result of the birth of the Christ consciousness in the cave of the heart. And aspirants who have undergone this experience will have orientated themselves towards the spiritual life. Esoteric teachings talks about humanity's either facing towards divinity or facing away from divinity. And so I like that idea that it's the first initiation that you turn towards initiation. Now, Benjamin Cream goes on to say, which does not necessarily mean the religious life. A general rightness of conduct and thinking and an attitude of goodwill will be demonstrated. The character will still have many faults. I'm just looking around the people in this room at the moment. The ideal is seldom attained. Now, you and I have all talked about Churchill, who was a
3-degree initiate.
Third degree. And he clearly had lots of vices.
3-way ones.
3-way ones.
So he was a powerful man.
He would have been quite unpleasant to be around at times.
Well, apparently he was.
Yeah. But anyway, Benjamin Creme goes on to say, but a new and more comprehensive and inclusive attitude to all beings will be shown, and the desire to serve will be strong. That made me think that most of the people I get in my classroom will be in and around that first degree initiation because they have a strong desire to help others. As a result, Benjamin Creme goes on, as a result of the control of the physical elemental, a great creativeness will manifest. This is due to the shift of energy from the lower chakras to the throat chakras. Benjamin Creme goes on to say the second initiation demonstrates emotional control of the astral element, just as the first demonstrated control of the physical elemental. This initiation is said to be the most difficult. The initiate emerges from the fog of desire of the astral mist, and that's the emotional mist, has to clarify his responses to reality and free himself from emotional bondage. I would say humanity is stuck in that emotional bondage.
Predominantly, we are.
Yes, it's still the Atlantean consciousness, isn't it, John?
Exactly.
It's sort of, it's not whether you tell, it's how you tell a story, not whether it's true or not.
And, that manifests, I think, so well in social media. I was looking at some stuff the other day. And politics.
Yeah.
I was looking at some stuff the other day and somebody posted something which I thought was quite reasonable. It was a kind of take on modern America. And the hate, I always read comments, the hate. And I'm kind of looking going, hold on, the person's just making an observation. They're allowed to do that. But this stream of hate and abuse was just awful. Anyway, so I go on. I'm freeing myself from my own bondage, and I'm going back to Benjamin Creme. So powerful is the astral nature of man that this is an enormously difficult task and can take many lives to achieve. The soul, through the agency of the mind, has to control the emotional body and make it limpid and clear for its true purpose, a fitting vehicle for the Buddhic or intuitional level of consciousness. I didn't realise that. The astral plane actually has a use. I thought we were trying to get away from it. Anyway, the third initiation, Benjamin Creme, page 177. The transfiguration demonstrates the completely integrated personality, soul infused and responding now to the energy of the monad. What's the monad, Peter?
The monads is the God aspect of it. It is the spark of God.
That is the individualized oversoul?
It's beyond the soul. Up? It's one beyond the soul.
Oh, because when you get to the fourth initiation, what happens to the soul, Peter?
Well, it's just made up of solar devas, and it goes back to the sun.
Yeah. Anyway, energy of the monad. So this is where Creme says, love, wisdom, and dynamic will, the attributes of the soul now shine clearly through the personality, and a creative life of world service and effectiveness begins. Now, he talks about three major planetary initiations must always be taken in incarnation. And then 4 is this awful one. Now, 4 is where we have seen a lot of initiates because they suffer terribly on the fourth initiation. That's when they clean up all of their karma and they get rid of all of that kind of built-up stuff.
And some of the fourth degree initiates, they suffer from really bad health because they're burning up that karma.
Yep, and Benjamin Creme quotes the Master DK again. When a man takes the fourth initiation, and he's referencing man as the race, not as the gender, when a man takes the fourth initiation, he functions in the fourth plane vehicle, the Buddhic, and has escaped permanently from the personality ring past knot. We have a ring past knot around the solar system too, don't we? This great act of renunciation marks the moment when the disciple has nothing in him which relates him to the three worlds, physical, astral, and mental, of human evolution. The life of the man who takes the fourth initiation, or the crucifixion, is usually one of great sacrifice and suffering. It is the life of the man who takes the great renunciation. and even esoterically is seen to be strenuous, hard and painful. He has laid all, even his perfected personality, upon the altar of sacrifice and stands bereft of it all. And all is renounced.
And I remember Peter saying recently, once you take that fourth degree initiation, you're almost there.
Almost there, but I went to Krem's last conference in the States, 2010, 2011, I can't remember. He gave a talk on even an Arhat may fall, and an Arhat's a fourth degree initiate. And now I understand. DK goes on to say, all is renounced, friends, money, reputation, character, standing in the world, family, and even life itself. And that, Peter's from Initiation Human and Solar, that he's quoting DK. Yeah. So that life, that fourth degree initiate, when we look at the history of some of the fourth degree initiates we've talked about, they've had awful lives. And Blavatsky was pilloried, right? Absolutely.
To this day.
Just denigrated everywhere she went.
And it was a magnificent lifetime. She founded the Theosophical Society.
She did amazing stuff, but got roundly criticised and expunged from society. Fourth degree initiate, cleaning up, getting rid of all that karma and suffering and that sacrifice.
And you see her arguments against these various people in The Secret Doctrine, and she's up there with the answer, isn't she? It was difficult for her, but she was able to top it. Yeah.
But a fourth degree initiate, according to Krem, can still fall. And I just find that amazing. But that explains it. It is such a difficult life that you could fall back into
self-pity or something.
Self-pity, yeah.
At the Door of Initiation is an article that we covered on the last program, and Peter is going to finish it off for us now as we speak.
Yes, well, we've covered pretty much the first 5 initiations, but wait, there is more to come.
I can't wait, Peter.
The Master Jesus is now a 6th degree initiate, and this, of course, is beyond the physical. And, of course, Maitreya the Christ is a 7th degree initiate too. And so these initiations are taken by the Lord of the World, Sanat Kumara. But beyond these, in fact, beyond the 6th initiation, there's a point in crisis where the Master has to choose one of the 7 paths.
Oh, yes.
Beyond which he must decide. And
is it like a turning point?
It is really, because the first one, you might say, is the path of earth service. And some of the disciples are taken, and I was thinking that a lot of people would actually take this, the path of earth service, but it is actually limited by the number that can be, accommodated on this particular path. And the second path, the choice, of course, belongs to the Master, the path of magnetic work. And this is working particularly with the Devic kingdom and manipulating the energies that are flying around the cosmos. And we could do another half a dozen programs on the energies flying around the cosmos, I think. But anyway, number 3 is the path of training for the planetary logi. In other words, if you plan on becoming a god and in charge of a planet, that's the path you need to do.
Do you like the sound of that, John?
Well, Benjamin Krem has said that all life in cosmos is either approaching the human experience or has been through the human experience.
That's right.
So the logos of our planet was at one point in their evolution human.
Yes, that's right. And the 4th one is the path to Sirius. And luckily that's going to be open to most of us by the looks, by the numbers that have come through there. But very rapid progress happens there. We happen to know that...
there's no admission to the dark ones on Sirius.
Yes. Ooh. Some of the great artists, I think Michelangelo... are already 8th degree initiates because it's very rapid progress on Sirius. And 5 is the ray path, and this is to do with manipulating these huge energies that come through from right through the whole universe, and they're coming actually from the 7 great stars of the
Pleiades?
No, they come through the Pleiades as
well.
well.
Oh, the Great Bear.
Yeah, the Great Bear, that's right, I'm sorry. Yes, so those are where the cosmic rays come from. The scientists call them cosmic rays, but we know them as the various 7 rays. And number 6 is the path of the Logos himself is on. So that sounds a really interesting one, but, very difficult perhaps to describe in a short moment. The path of absolute sonship is number 7. And it's the correspondence to the higher plane of that grade of discipleship which we call Son of the Master. It is the sonship of a being higher than our logos, of which we may not speak. It is the great controlling path of karma. And so that's where the karma comes in. And of course our karma at the moment is controlled by these 4 great beings on...
the Lords of Karma.
Yes, on Sirius. So that's where it all comes from. So there's always a job ahead of us. We're never going to be out of work.
No.